Hello, I'm Dr. James Bogash, Master of Health and Longevity and creator of Modern Health Myths. Today we're going to talk on the final installment of pandemic health and immunity, and this has to do with your microbiome. In case you're not familiar with the term, this has to do with our bacteria and viruses and all these living things that aren't us that grow within us. We generally think of it as the gut microbiome, but we also have a microbiome in the urinary tract, vaginal vault, in our respiratory tract, so from the mouth all the way down into our lungs. Our skin has its own microbiome that varies from person to person and from areas of the body. But when these are properly in tune, if you will, I've heard it referred to as we are essentially a giant coral reef with all these bacteria living within us, and that probably makes the most sense. But when we have all of these bacteria, these living things working with us, they form another very substantial layer of protection from anything that life wants to throw at us. This is why having healthy levels of lactobacillus and acidophilus, two particular bacteria that are associated with health, lowers your risk of developing a viral pneumonia. So that means that antibiotics could make you more susceptible to a viral infection. That is absolutely, without a doubt, what happens. There's not really an argument about that enough anymore. There's more than enough data to support that. So making sure that you have a healthy microbiome is of critical importance for your overall immunity, not just as it relates to COVID or SARS-CoV-2, but for any other infection, urinary tract infections, all of it. We want our bacteria living in our bodies to work with us, not against us. Once they start battling us, you've lost the game and you're going to have more health problems than you are going to have health. So first, top of the list, ways to really screw up your microbiome. Antibiotics are at the top of the list. Nothing disrupts and destroys your microbiome as much as antibiotics do. Even 2 years later, a single course of antibiotics, the average microbiome has not recovered from the destruction from one course of antibiotics. Keep in mind that anti-inflammatories like ibuprofen also disrupt the gut bacteria. Artificial sweeteners, so we know that things like sucralose and Splenda can disrupt our gut bacteria. So the first thing is to stop screwing it up and give our bacteria a chance to heal, or our microbiome a chance to heal. When we start looking at rebuilding a healthy microbiome, this isn't something that you can start today. You take some probiotics and in a week you'll be good. This is something that develops over the course of months and even years to have a healthy, resilient, protective microbiome. So top of the list of things that help build your microbiome are certain fibers. So these are, we can do insoluble fibers, we can do soluble fibers, resistant starch, but all of those foods that Mother Nature gave us that help grow the bacteria that we want to grow. Sometimes it's easier to, depending upon your diet, we can get this in there's some really good quality fiber supplements out there. Not your generic Metamucil and those types. I almost always steer people away from those. They have, it's really just crap products, just like a lot of other commercially available, readily available things that your average grocery store or convenience store. Other things like polyphenols, so all these protective compounds that we find in fruits and vegetables and spices, These all individually help grow certain classes of bacteria in our gut. So one day it could be blueberries, the next day it could be raspberries, the next day it could be cinnamon, the next day it could be garlic. Um, all of these things individually help grow a healthy microbiome. It's not something you do every single day, it's something that you do over the course of weeks. Each day you may feed a different aspect of your microbiome, but that's where having a diverse diet is very important. If all you eat are meat and potatoes day in, day out, you're gonna have a screwed up microbiome because you're not giving a chance for other bacteria that are protective and will protect you to grow. So the healthy fats also play a role. So we know that having things like olive oil and avocados and nuts and seeds, those healthy fats in there will help grow a healthy microbiome. Probiotics, from a supplement standpoint, are important as well, but by themselves, probiotics will not support the growth of a healthy microbiome. We need to manage that with diet as well. And that's probably the best way to describe it. I've used it a couple times, but the growth of our microbiome. We really want to support the growth of all these bacteria, and that suggests that it's going to take some time. And it has to be a dedicated approach to make sure that everything that passes your lips is going to have a positive effect on your microbiome, whether it's in the gastrointestinal tract, whether it's in the oral, in your mouth, whether it's in your respiratory tract. Because when we have these little guys fighting for us, it's going to be much harder for anything else to break in. Consider it as a giant game of King of the Hill, and we want the good bacteria to be on top. So as always, make sure you like this video, share it with somebody who you think needs this information, and subscribe to the channel.